Hi guys, Juice here. I am here to film my October TBR, and TBR stands for to be read, so this is my to be read list. I have a couple of stacks next to me. I have like three different stacks here. You can see one of them right here. A lot of these are going to be buddy reads. A lot of these are for read-alongs that are happening. Some of these I've already mentioned on my channel because they were for readathons that happened last month that I never got around to, or they were just readathons that are happening this month and I just haven't got around to them. The first three books I talked about in my September wrap-up last night when I made the video, and those three books I mentioned, so I'm just going to fly through the first three books because these are where I'm currently reading. The first book is Well Played by Jen DeLuca. This is the second book in the Well Met romance series that I read. I read the first book earlier this year, back in March or April. I can't remember when exactly, but I remember reading it and loving it, and I gave the first one a 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm really enjoying this one. I am halfway through. I made some progress of where I was last night, so I am hoping to finish this one either today or tomorrow. Another library book that I have is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This is a new novel that I talked about in my September wrap-up, and I am really enjoying this one. I did make some more progress in this as well. I've been switching between my two audiobooks because I'm trying to read both of these at the same time because they're both due very soon at my public library. So I want to read these because A, they're both new releases, and B, I know they're both popular books at my library right now. So really excited to read both of these, and sorry for the glare. I don't know how to fix that problem, but these two books I talked about last night. I also talked about A Golden Fury by Samantha Cohen. This is a debut novel from Wednesday Books, and it comes out Tuesday, October 13th, which is this coming Tuesday as I'm filming this. And then the next the next 6 books I have to talk to you today about are my TBR jar picks that I picked out of my TBR. I have a TBR jar that I put every single book on my TBR shelves, which are the 2 shelves behind me, which you've seen in videos before. So I'm just going to fly through these. I know nothing about any of these. I know what a couple of these are about, but my TBR is just, hey, these are the books that I want to read this month, and this is when I'm hoping to read them. The first one out of the 6 is a big book, and that is Lovely War by Julie Berry. This is a adult or a young adult historical fiction novel set in World War I and World War II, I think. I've been hearing nothing but amazing things about this book from Haley over at Haley in Bookland. She loves this book. I actually picked this up because she recommended this to me because I always comment on her videos, and she said if you love historical fiction, definitely check out this one. And I really do love historical fiction, so I really hope I will love this one. I don't know if I will get to this one this month, but there's an option for that. Next one I know for sure I will get to because my friend Brittany is running her book club again, and the backlist title for her book club is The Whisper Man by Alex North. I talked about this in my August book haul, and I am really excited to read it. I'm probably going to read this on on Halloween, just because I wanted to read a couple of thriller books that weekend and just devour all my thrillers that I have. A lot of these are mixed genres as well, so you'll see that throughout the video. This is adult mystery thriller, and I've already talked about this on my channel. The next book of the month pick that I have is Systems of a Heartbreak by Sonia Chipotle. I probably butchered that, I'm sorry. This one I know nothing about. It's a YA contemporary story that I got from Book of the Month last year, and I just never got around to it, so when I picked this out of my TBR jar last week, I was shocked that this got picked. And it's a short contemporary, so it'll be a nice break in between all these like heavy fantasy that I have plans. The next book I have is The Queen's Assassins by Melissa De La Cruz. I read the Alex and Eliza trilogy by this author, and I either completed this trilogy last year or in 2018, and I really enjoyed her writing and the way she builds her world. So I'm really looking forward to reading a fantasy novel. I think this is her first YA fantasy. I could be wrong, but yeah, this one I got from Target. As you can see, I haven't taken the sticker off yet because I hate taking the stickers off, but yeah, that's the sticker's still on there. That's okay. The next book I am buddy reading with my friend Heather this month, and that is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is my first book by Tiffany D. Jackson, and I'm really excited for it, so I can't wait to read this one. I already have it tabbed up for how many pages we're going to read a day, and I do have the audiobook from my Overdrive, so I'm really looking forward to reading them. And this one just came out this past month in September, so if you haven't picked this one up yet, you should. And then the next book I have, the final book that I picked out of my TBR jar, is The Star-Touched Queen by Roshani Chakshay. This is the first book in the Star-Touched Queen duology. I don't know how I can show this cover off without having the glare. This is I don't know what type of retelling it is. It's some sort of retelling. If you know what retelling this is, let me know down below in the comments, because I honestly forgot what retelling it was. But again, it's another short fantasy novel, so I just can't wait to get to this one. And this one is due at the end of the month, so I need to read this library book ASAP. And then going on to all my buddy reads that I have planned for this month. The first two books for my buddy reads that I'm planning on is the Nevernight trilogy by J. Kristoff. This is a adult fantasy, a gruesome, a dark, bloody, very graphic, I hear, trilogy. I have the audiobook for book one, so I'm kind of nervous to read this trilogy just because of my friend Charlie said it was a lot darker than they expected. They told me that they finished Nevernight in like 2 or 3 days. I was like, what the heck? I haven't even started this yet. So we are buddy reading this whole trilogy in October. I don't own Dark Dawn yet, but if I read Nevernight this month and I really love it, I will continue on with God's Grave, and then I will read Dark Dawn whenever I get my hands on it. The next book is what I've already mentioned for. My friend Brittany has 2 books for her book club because she does a backlist title for her book club, and she does a new release in case we have one or the other, or vice versa, and that is Horrid by Katerina Leno. This book, again, the glare is bothering me. This book is a new release that I just got this month, so I'll be mentioning this in my September book haul. So that should be coming after this video, and this is from Owl Crate. So also I forgot to mention, if you didn't want to be spoiled for the September box, September pick, this is the pick for Owl Crate. It's very creepy. I'm very excited to read this. I'm probably going to read this soon just because I'm in the mood for like thrillers right now, ever since I read The Last Time I Lied last month. So really can't wait to read this one. And this will be my first book by Katerina Leno. I heard she has mixed reviews on all her books, so I'm really nervous to read this one just because I hear mixed reviews about this one. But I've been hearing mostly good things about it, so that's good. The next book I talked about in my September wrap-up. I am doing an Ember read-along for the last 4 months of 2020, and I am hosting this over on Instagram, so if you would like to join my read-along, you still have time. We're about to start the second book, and that is A Torch Against the Night by Saba Tahir. This is the second book in the Ember Quartet series. We're reading this in October. I already have a page breakdown, so I'll leave that down in the description box if you would like to join us. I also have it by page breakdown, and I also have it by chapter breakdown, because some people are just listening to the audiobook. I don't know how they can do that, but they do. And we actually have our Zoom meeting for the first book to discuss about it tonight, so I'm really looking forward to doing that. And I'm really hoping I will love my reread of A Torch Against the Night, and then I can finally read in A Reaper at the Gates. It will be my first time reading it, so I'm really looking forward to it. And again, I already have my pages tabbed up for this buddy read. The next book I am hoping to read, because this is a book club pick for Lala over at Books and Lala. Her book club is called Literary Dead Book Club, and that is One by One by Ruth Ware. This is a new release that came out last month as well. I read my first Ruth Ware novel in September of last year, so I'm really excited to read this one next. This is a book of the month pick, as you know, and I was really shocked that this wasn't one of the main picks for September. It was one of the add-ons option. I was kind of shocked by that because they've been doing Ruth Ware books ever since she started writing, I think. So I was shocked that this wasn't like a thriller pick for the month of September, but I got it otherwise, and I'm really excited to read this, and I hear mixed reviews about this one as well. The next 3 books on my stack are middle grade books. I actually have one other middle grade that I have on my TBR list that I will show you guys. These 3 books are middle grade. One of them is a new release that just came out this week, and the first one out of the 3 is A Crystal of Time by Simone Chanier. This is the 5th installment in the School for Good and Evil series. I love this series. I'm scared to finish this one because I have book 5 and then I will have book 6, which is over there on my library cart because I checked it out from a public library. I'm scared to finish this series off because I loved this first half of the trilogy, and then he added on 3 more books, and so I read book 4 earlier this year and I really enjoyed it, and I'm just so happy I'm continuing on with this series, and maybe I can complete the series this month. Who knows? The next middle grade I have that I want to read is A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. This is the spin-off series to the School for, or no, not the school, the Land of Story series, the series right behind me, so I had to look at what the title was. The Land of Story series was my favorite series that I read in the previous years. And this, again, is from Target. I don't know why I keep leaving my Target sticker on, but I do. The sequel to this one just came out this week. I didn't realize how early this book was going to come out in October. I actually thought it was like a later release in the month, but it was actually came out on October 6th, which was this past Tuesday. So I can binge read the first book and then I can read the second one. And then the sequel that I talked about that just came out this week was Trishna Strong Destroys the World by Kimwan Mabala. This is a sequel to Trishna Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky, which I have right here on my bookshelf. I read the first book, I devoured it, I read it in 1 or 2 days, and I really loved it. So I'm really looking forward to reading the sequel. But the sequel is smaller than the first book, so I'm kind of nervous for that. And also there's going to be a 3rd book coming, but we don't know when the 3rd book in this trilogy will be coming out. Hopefully sometimes next year. If not, then it will be the previous year according to Mabala. But this is an Own Voices novel, part of the Rick Riordan Presents imprint, and it's mythology. It's from first person point of view, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to diving back into this world. The next couple of books that I have to show you are some new releases from September. So basically I'm showing you all the books I got from September, and that is Vampires Never Get Old by Zordia Cordaro and Natalie C. Parker. Sorry if I butchered the first author's last name. I read Labyrinth Lost by the first author, Zordia. And I really enjoyed that. I really loved the creepiness and the atmosphere of that book. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. It's a vampire short story collection. There's authors like Samira Ahmed, Danielle Clayton, Tessa Granton, Heidi Helge, Julie Murphy, Mark Oshiro, Rebecca Roanhurst, Laura Ruby, V.E. Schwab, and Kayla Whaley. I don't know if I butchered any of those names, but if I did, I'm sorry. I am hoping to buddy read this with my friend Lori this month. I think she already started this, so I'm a couple of pages behind, but this is another buddy read I'm doing with Lori. And then I want to reread the first book of this, but I don't know if I should reread this one because I didn't really love the first book of this book. But I bought this book because I've been dying for the sequel, and that is The Silver Serpent by Roshani Chokshi, another book by Roshani Chokshi. This is a sequel to The Gilded Wolves, which I read The Gilded Wolves the year it came out, and I liked it, but I didn't love it, if that makes sense. Like, I'll read it to reread it and refresh my brain on what happens in the first book so I can jump into the sequel, but this cover was just so pretty that I couldn't pass it up. Plus there was a pre-order swag. I don't know when I'm gonna get the pre-order swag, but I love this cover and I can't wait to read this and see where the stories takes off, and hopefully I will love this sequel. The next couple books are still my September books that I got in the month of September that I would like to try and get to in October. And the next one is Fable by Adrienne Young. This is a first book. Ooh, look at that. This is a first book in a new duology by Adrienne Young. She's the author of the Sky in the Deep series, and I really enjoyed that duology. I got the arc of the second book in that series, so I had the arc of this one, but I just never got around to it till I got the physical copy of this, and I'm really stoked for this one. I follow Adrienne on Instagram and we talk once in a while, so I'm really excited to read this one, and I hope this one lives up to the hype as I think it will. The next book I hear nothing but amazing things about, and that is The Inheritance Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I haven't read a book by Jennifer Lynn Barnes before, but I've been hearing her name go around booktube a lot, especially with this newer release, and this just sounds interesting. On the tagline of this book says, "She came from nothing, they have everything, let the games begin." This sounds super I don't know if it's a thriller or not, but it just sounds like a creepy novel to read. And my friend Charlie, who I mentioned earlier in this video for the Nevernight read-along, my friend Charlie, they sent me the copy of this book that they had early from the publisher. So thank you again, Charlie, for sending me this my way. And then the next new release, I'm actually in the middle of reading this one, and that is Ironheart by Nina Valeria. I mentioned this in my September wrap-up that I was currently reading this, and I am on chapter 5, page 80, and I am really enjoying what I read of it. I haven't read it in a couple of days, so I probably need to restart the first 5 chapters just because I don't know what happened in the first 5 chapters. I know that sounds terrible on me, but I also just want to take my time with this because this is the second and final book in the Cryas War duology, so I do want to see how I feel about this one. Everyone has been loving this one. They said this one's a lot grittier than book 1 was, so I'm really excited to see how this one ends and to hopefully wrap this series up this month. If you can't tell, I have a lot of series I would like to wrap up this month for September because for October, I mean. A lot of books to wrap up in October because there was a lot of series that I wanted to read in September but never got around to them, so October, they're carrying over from October. So the next book I have is Punching the Air by E.B. Zaboy. This is a book that Epic Reads and HarperCollins published this year. This is Own Voices, and it's also going to be a short read because it's written in verse. And I love when books are written in verse because I can just fly through them. But I hear this is also going to be a hard-hitting topic to read, so I don't know if excited is the word for this type of book, but I am looking forward to reading this one because I love E.B. Zaboy's other works. The next 2 books, the first one out of these 2 books is going to be a reread for me, and that is The Red Skull and Magic by Cassandra Clare. I am hoping to reread this one in October because the sequel, The Lost Book of the White by Cassandra Clare, just came out in September. I bought this at Target, and I actually took the sticker off this time because I had help from my sister. My sister helped me take the sticker off, so I'm really excited to see where the series continues. where it takes off from book 1. I remember reading this one last year in 2019 and just loving it. This follows our main character Alex and Magnus, and as you don't know, they are a couple, and they go on these crazy adventures in London, and this takes place in between the Mortal Instruments series and after the Infernal Devices is what I hear people are saying. So if you haven't read any Cassandra Clare, this is not the series to start with. If you start with the series with Cassandra Clare, you will get spoiled. I will say that for sure. I've only read book 1, so I don't know if there will be more spoilers in book 2, but I'm assuming there will be. But I am just really excited to see how this series continues in book 2. I might reread the book 1 this month, or I might not. I don't know which one I will read. I'm definitely wanting to read this one, so there's that. And then getting down to the last of my books here. I know this is a long video, sorry about that. All my videos lately have been very long for some reason. Next book on my TBR list that I want to try and get to this month. I mentioned this in my Chiller Thriller 2.0 readathon that I posted earlier this week or last week. I'll leave that down below if you have missed it. And that is Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahern. This is the sequel to Serpent and Dove, which I read earlier this year and I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it like 5 stars or 4 stars. I can't remember exactly what my rating was. But I remember reading that with my friend Libby, and we were texting back and forth nonstop because of how fast both of us was reading Serpent and Dove, and we literally FaceTimed after we after we both finished book 1, and we just like talked for a while about book 1. So I'm really excited to read book 2. I know Michael over at Epic Reads, he has been hyping this book up. So I'm really excited, but also nervous because book 3 comes out next year in 2021. Next book is a YA contemporary LGBT romance novel, LGBT contemporary novel that I have from my public library, and that is We Are Totally Normal by that author. I'm not going to say the author's name because I know I will butcher it. This is a super short contemporary, and as you can see from my stack of books that I have here, a lot of these are thrillers or dark fantasy novels. So having a contemporary in the mix of all these books will be a nice little break. And again, it's a short one, and I do have the audiobook of this one checked out from my Hoopla, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I know nothing about this one, I just know it has LGBT romance in it, and I was like, sign me up. So really short book, so hopefully I can fly through it. The last like 4 books I have from my Hoopla. So the first one is A Blade So Black by L.O. McKinney. I mentioned this in my August book haul. I haven't read this one yet, but every time I check this out from my library, I just never really read it. I just check it out just to check it out. I don't know why I do that with books, but I do. But this one I bought in August, and I really am excited to read this. This is a dark Alice in Wonderland retelling. As you can tell, so most of these are going to be dark / spooky reads for October, so hope you like that. This is the first book in a new trilogy. The sequel is already out. It came out last year in September. And then the 3rd book comes out either this year or it comes out next year. I can't remember exactly. But if I love this one, I can definitely pick up the sequel. And then I forgot to grab the 2nd book in this trilogy, but I want to finish off the Stormrunner trilogy by J.C. Crevents. I don't know how to say her last name properly, sorry. So I want to buddy read The Firekeeper and the Stormrunner, or not the Stormrunner, the Shadowcrosser by J.C. Crevents. I got this in September, so again, this is another book you see in my September book haul. And I am really looking forward to seeing how this trilogy ends, because like I keep mentioning whenever I talk about these books, I buddy read the 1st book with my friend Taylor, and we are buddy reading book 2 and 3 of this trilogy, so we're hoping to wrap this trilogy up this month. So I forgot to grab my copy of book 2, but I've already shown that off in my 5-star prediction number 2 video, which I'll also leave down below if you want to watch it. But yeah, this is another series I want to try and wrap up this month. And then the second to last book of this video is The Storm Crow by Kayla Josephine. I remember when I bought this book last year in August, because it came out in August of last year, and or it came out in July, I can't remember. It came out during the summer of last year, and I remember I was looking for jobs last summer, and I was at one of my Barnes and Nobles because I was there for a job interview, and I didn't know if I got it right away or not, so I kind of like stayed in the store and just browsed the young adult section, and as of today I haven't got that job yet. Not unlikely that I would get it because it's been like a year now, but I bought this book right after my job interview, so I think that's why I haven't read it yet, just because I have that memory with this book, which is kind of bad of saying it, but this cover is gorgeous. The sequel to this one just came out this year as well, so maybe I can binge read this series in October. And the final book that I have to talk to you today is a third and final book in a trilogy, and that is Night of the Dragon by Julie Kagawa. This is the third and final book in the Shadow of the Fox trilogy, and I really enjoyed this trilogy. I love the first two books. I think they were both like 4 stars read for me, but they were like still enjoyable, if that makes sense. This book I mentioned in my Buzzword TBR. I never read any of those books on my Buzzword TBR, so I'm trying to make that up for October. This is super short finale, so I'm kind of nervous to see how this one ends. But again, my friend Charlie, who I keep mentioning throughout this video, they love this finale. They said they cried in it, so I'm like really scared and nervous and like excited to wrap up another series this year. I think the last series I wrapped up was The Diviners, and that was back in April, so it's been quite a while. Or just kidding, my last series I wrapped up was the Carnival series, which I just mentioned in my video of that I filmed last night. But yeah, this is the final book on my TBR, and there you have it, folks. There's 2 stacks of books right here next to me. A lot of books on my TBR. I hope you enjoyed this. I filmed this in 3 different parts. My leg is falling asleep because I've been sitting down for so long. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you read any of these books at all this year, let me know down below in the comments. While you're down in the comments, check out the description box, because there will be lots of links to my previous videos, or just links to my friends' social media accounts, which you should all go follow them. Also, while you're down there, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later with another video soon. And happy reading, and have a good day or night, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!